and blue.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Crooksville, the site of the first TV game of the week in 1994. The Crooksville Ceramics are hosting the Tri-Valley Scotties. With me tonight, Kevin Rao. And Kevin, a great way to start off the 94 football season on TV.
A terrific way to start out things. We've got a battle of two young teams, two teams with a lot of promise for this MVL season.
The Ceramics, of course, had a great run last year when they were in the Division IV state semifinals. Tri-Valley looking to turn things around this year.
Well, Crooksville on their side of it, obviously a terrific effort last year. They lose their backfield. They'll come out throwing more this year. On the Tri-Valley side, big running attack, so it'll be a good match tonight.
Okay, thanks, Kevin. And joining me now, Craig Spring, the head coach of the Crooksville Ceramics. Craig, a great year for you guys last year. You started out with a loss this season, trying to get the team bounced back with the first game of the MVL against Tri-Valley.
Yeah, we played a very formidable foe last Friday night in Fisher Catholic. They also were coming off a great season, a playoff season. But that week's behind us now. We think we've got most of the mistakes that occurred last Friday under control now. As you had mentioned to Kevin, Tri-Valley is a young squad, and they're trying to scratch a name for themselves also. So it should be a good game tonight.
You lost a lot of players to graduation, a lot of good players that helped you to get to where you were last year. You got the players this year, though, who can step in and fill those shoes?
We sure think we do. Only time will tell, and hopefully that time will come tonight.
What do you think it's going to take for you to beat the Tri-Valley Scotties tonight?
Well, we were extremely disappointed in our defensive effort last week. Our teams just don't play like that. So tonight we're going to have to play some defense in order to be in the ball game.
Okay, Coach, thanks for joining us, and good luck against the Scotties tonight.
Thank you.
That's Craig Spring, the head coach of the Crooksville Ceramics. We'll be right back with more after this.
We just can't make mistakes. They have the size on us on both sides of the ball, and we are going to have to play aerial football, and we're going to have to play heads-up football and take advantage of situations when we get into them.
You have a young team, but a team of young talent.
Oh, yes. This team's going to be good. It's just a matter of time. It's a matter of maturity, getting game experience, and, we're going to find out a lot about our kids tonight.
Tough season last year. What is it going to take for the Scotties to turn things around and have a winning season this year?
A lot of hard work, a lot of weightlifting. We need to be more physical, and we'll be there. We'll be there.
Okay, thanks, Jim. Good luck against the Ceramics tonight and for the rest of the season.
Okay, thank you.
That's Jim Kaiser, the head coach of the Tri-Valley Scotties. We'll be right back with starting lineups and the kickoff for tonight's game after this. Tri-Valley will be kicking off to the Crooksville Ceramics. Both teams getting ready to get their MVL season underway, and both teams really wanting a victory here in the opening night. Nate Hirschberger to do the kicking for the Tri-Valley Scotties. The kick is up, and it is taken by Crooksville at the 25, taking it out to the 30, the 35, to the 40, breaking some tackles and brought down at about the 48-yard line was Sean Carr.
And the kicker, Nate Hirschberger, who is a running back, obviously, on offense for Tri-Valley. Good speed, was the one that came over and got him and knocked him out of bounds. But Sean Carr showed good speed and exactly what you want to do on a kickoff, and that is find a seam and just go straight upfield.
So the Crooksville Ceramics will start out on offense. Take a look at some of the Crooksville offensive starters today. At quarterback, Brad Ross, along with some wide receivers, T.J. Mumford and Sean Carr. Fullback, Chuck Blake. And there you see the line. The first play is a handoff right up the middle and across midfield and brought down at about the 43-yard line was Chuck Blake.
Close to a first down.
And the Tri-Valley defense will line up with Nate Hirschberger, Jeff Smith, J.J. Sabine, Joe Smith, Dustin Hood, Brad Mercer, Jason Shoemaker, Dan Jewett, C.J. Mercer, Sean McClellan, and Jeff Shawinski. The Crooksville Ceramics, second and about less than a yard. Quarterback Brad Ross under center, fakes the handoff to Blake, takes it himself, decides to pitch it to Mike Taylor. Taylor takes it around the left end. He's down to the 20. He could go all the way, and he's in for a touchdown. The Crooksville Ceramics take an early 6-0 lead on their second play from scrimmage.
And that's a case where the Tri-Valley defense obviously went after Ross very hard. How he pitched the ball away, what a terrific play he made to get that ball back. But there wasn't the contain man there, and on the option, you've got to have the person to come up and stop the tailback, at least force him inside.
So 2 plays for the Crooksville Ceramics, and it's a 6-0 lead. And they will be lining up for the extra point. And they're bringing on kicker Kyle Shuley. Kyle Shuley in to try to make it a 7-0 lead for the Ceramics. The snap, the set, the kick, it's on the way, and the kick is good. So a 7-0 lead for the Crooksville Ceramics. That last play, quarterback Brad Ross took it and took the pitch and took the option, and just a great option for Ross, and he saw Mike Taylor off to his left side. Taylor went in for the touchdown. That made it 7-0 Ceramics, and that is where we are at right now with Taylor with the 41-yard touchdown run. So, Kevin, a great start for the Crooksville Ceramics.
Well, and you run the offense to perfection there. The pitch, just a terrific play by Ross to be able to hang on, first of all, on the hit, and then be able to pitch it back. And the play really, Nate Hirschberger, Jeff Smith had the outside assignments that time, and not to blame them because Ross was almost to the ground, and they were trying to get in there to seal the tackle, and he got the ball away. Just a terrific play by the Crooksville offense, and that big play that we talked about that may spell the difference. And when you are able to get the momentum going your way, which Crooksville on their home field now has the crowd completely into it, it really does help the home squad, and it helps the squad that can get on the board early.
That's a great way to start off the season. That's almost exactly what we saw last week when you and I were in Zanesville. Watched the Blue Devils get off to an early start with an interception by Corey Newman and a long touchdown run by Royce Workman. It took them 2 plays, took Crooksville 2 plays to get off to the early start. It's 7-0 right now, and Crooksville getting ready to kick it off. Deep for the Tri-Valley Scotties, DM Ford, Ian Kilpatrick, and Adam Kendrick. The kicker is Scott Houck, and he kicks off from his own 40. Nate Hirschberger is going to take it at about the 28-yard line, brings it up to the 35. He fumbles the ball, and it looks like Crooksville falls on it. And the Ceramics will take the ball. Let's wait for the official call by the referee. And the referee says Crooksville gets the fumble, so they'll take the ball on the Tri-Valley 36-yard line.
And recovering that, Kevin Caton in the middle of the stack was able to get on top of it. And Hirschberger tried to do a lot as he came back to the inside and just stripped of the ball.
Kyle Shuley made one of the 2 initial hits on Nate Hirschberger. And that puts Crooksville with a 1st and 10 at about the 36 or 37-yard line. And that'll be illegal motion on behalf of the Crooksville Ceramics. It was Kyle Shuley getting an early jump from the left side of the line on that one. But what a great way for Crooksville to start out. It's kind of tough for Tri-Valley, but Crooksville's got to be more than thrilled with getting an early touchdown and then an early fumble recovery, and that's what you want to see out of your team early on in the season, is taking advantage of those mistakes by the other team.
Well, and the point, and I was going to make it, if the Tri-Valley offense had made it onto the field, is Tri-Valley really needs to try to get some momentum back, and it hurts, obviously. Nate Hirschberger, terrific running back on offense, tried to do a little too much with it that time, and a good strip by Crooksville.
1st and 15 from the 41-yard line, and Blake takes it inside the 35 for a gain of about 6 or 7, but there's a flag on the play. We'll have to wait for the call on that, and it's holding against the Crooksville Ceramics, so that'll push them back a little bit further.
And Crooksville tonight brings that big offensive line, reading straight across Tony Taylor, 6'3", 275 on the left side. Tony Ansel, 6 foot, 221. At center, Matt Hall, 5'8", 238. Kevin Caton is 5'10", 230. Sean Rice, 6'4", 259. So the lightest guy on that line is 221 pounds.
So the Crooksville Ceramics are pushed all the way back to the 49-yard line. They've got to get to about the 26. So that'll make it 2nd down and 23 after the holding call. The snap is taken by Ross, rolls off to the right side, and he decides to keep the option himself, and maybe a gain of about 1 for Ross, but he was smothered there by the Tri-Valley defense. Dan Jewett and Sean McClellan both in on the tackle.
Well, and they did, that time the Tri-Valley defense did what they have to do against an option attack, and that is push the offensive line back to get in the way of the various options that the offense has. That time, Ross really didn't have much to do with it. He had to take it himself, and the defense collapsed on him, and that's exactly the way you've got to apply that kind of pressure to be effective.
2nd down and long yardage for the Crooksville Ceramics. 21 yards to go. Ross with the pitch to Taylor. Taylor takes it to the right side. He's stopped hard in the backfield, thrown out of bounds by Nate Hirschberger for a big loss of about 7 or 8 yards on that one.
And Dan Jewett really made that play as he broke into the backfield and was able to hold up the running back long enough that Hirschberger could fly in there and seal things up. So a terrific job that time by Jewett as he shot the gap and made it in to really interrupt the flow of the play.
Third down and an awful long way for the Crooksville Ceramics to go to get this first down. They've got right about 29 yards, maybe 30 yards. We'll call it 29. Third down, 29 yards to go for the Ceramics. Ross hands up the middle to Blake. Blake bounces outside, takes it up to the 50, over the 50, and brings it down to the 48 before he's fighting through a bunch of tackles. And he is brought down finally at the 46-yard line. Boy, he just fought through that one for a gain of about 8 yards.
And when he came around to the outside, Nate Hirschberger hung on about as long as he could, and then J.J. Sabine came in to seal things up.
Tell you what, that's what you expect your fullback to do. You expect him to take some hits and get himself down in there and keep going, and that's exactly what he did. The Crooksville Ceramics, though, will be on to punt now as it is 4th and long for the Ceramics.
Well, you can see Chuck Blake, a very low center of gravity there, and he really kept the legs moving like you have to do.
The punt is on the way, and the kick is going to be let and roll, and it goes down inside the 5-yard line, and it's going to be down by the Ceramics at about the 4-yard line. So tough field possession for the Tri-Valley Scotties.
And again, not the place you want to start if you're the Tri-Valley offense, but after the fumble on the kickoff, they really have new life, no damage done, and now they can try to get some momentum on their side, and that's what they're going to have to try to do to get the crowd back out of this one just a little bit.
The Tri-Valley Scotties will start with 1st and 10 from their own 4-yard line. Actually, it looks like they're marked in right on about the 5-yard line. Tri-Valley with a quarterback, Andy Dara, sophomore quarterback. He's going to hand off up the middle. The handoff goes to Dustin Hood. Hood makes it out across the 5 and brought down after a gain of about 1, maybe 2.
And the quick offense.
And it'll be 2nd and 8 after a 2-yard gain from Dustin Hood. The snap and the roll out to the right, flags on the play.
Somebody moved a little early on the right side that time. And that'll be a half the distance.
So the Ceramics, or the Tri-Valley Scotties, will move back to their own 3-yard line.
That's the quick offense, but maybe just a little too quick offense.
So that'll be 2nd and 12 for Tri-Valley, deep in their own territory. The snap, the handoff, the fumble, and it's going to be recovered by Tri-Valley. Hirschberger, once again, lost control of that ball, and luckily his teammate was right there to fall on it, Dustin Hood.
Well, and Nate Hirschberger has fumbled a couple of times tonight, but he's really not holding the ball. He never really got the ball, as it turns out, but he has good fundamentals, and on the kickoff did not fumble the ball for being poorly, but fortunately for Tri-Valley, they hang on to it.
Timeout on the field. We'll take that timeout. 7-0, Crooksville leading in the first quarter. Handoff goes up the middle to Dustin Hood, and he takes it out across the 10 to about the 11-yard line. Dustin Hood with about a 6-yard carry. That'll make it 4th and about 5 yards to go for the Tri-Valley Scotties. Looks like they're bringing in their punting unit. Dropping back deep for the Crooksville Ceramics is Sean Carr, a 5'8" senior, weighing 152. And Brad Ross will also drop deep for the Ceramics. Into punt is Adam Kendrick for the Tri-Valley Scotties.
And the rush will be on. Now they're going to play for a return.
Kendrick from about his own 1-yard line goes off to the right side, and it's going to bounce at the 40 and roll on its way up to the 43, and that is where the Tri-Valley Scotties will down it. So the Crooksville Ceramics will get good field possession once again. They lead this one by a score of 7-0. They'll have it 1st and 10 on the 43, and Crooksville so far has looked pretty good other than the penalties that pushed them back on their last drive.
But the breaks have really gone their way. The only one that went Tri-Valley's way is their own fumble that they were able to get back on. That would have been a disaster deep in their territory. But again, Tri-Valley has not been punished too much but for the first touchdown and really have a chance to stay in this one. But Crooksville, with a good drive here, could establish even more momentum.
Ross rolling to his right, looking for a receiver. He's got one, but the ball was dropped by Kyle Shuley. thrown a little bit behind him, and he just couldn't hang on to it.
And good sign from Ross that time as Shuley ran back in. Ross blamed himself. So that's good leadership on behalf of the quarterback. Then Shuley doesn't take it too much to heart, and he's ready to go on the next play. And that's an easy roll to the right that time. Everybody's going that way, just a little bit behind the receiver.
Blake and Taylor in the backfield behind Brad Ross. Ross takes the snap, gives to Taylor. Taylor takes it up to the 40, down to the 35, and close to a first down for the Ceramics, but it'll be about 1 yard short, and it'll be third down and 1 or 2, depending. They're going to mark it at about just at the 30 or the 35-yard line, and it'll be third down and 2.
Mike Taylor did what you want a 6'1", 206-pound tailback to do. Just move straight ahead, find the hole, lower your head, and that time 8 yards.
Ross gives the hand up to Taylor once again. He loses his footing and falls right back down at the line of scrimmage for no gain.
That time tried to cut off the inside foot a little bit.
Perhaps a little bit of dew setting in on the field at this time, and he just couldn't get his footing and just took it to the other side of the 35-yard line. So he's down inside the 35, 4th and 2, and the Crooksville Ceramics will go for it. Brad Ross with a give to Blake. Blake takes it out, and he gets it for maybe a gain of 1, but I don't think it's going to be enough for the first down.
Jason Shoemaker made a great play to go get the ball carrier that time and hold on for the good stop.
Not even really a gain of 1 yard, and that'll be first down for the Tri-Valley Scotties. He just moved it a few inches based on the spot where the referee marked the ball. So 1st and 10 going the other way for the Tri-Valley Scotties from their own 35-yard line.
And as the Tri-Valley Scotties fans, who they've brought quite a few down here to Crooksville tonight, try to get things going. This is the best field position, obviously, Tri-Valley's had. They've had the ball 3 times. Really, this is only the second drive that they've been able to start, and this time they have some breathing room.
Andy Darr gives to Kilpatrick. He takes it to the right side over the 35 to the 36 and brought down there by a couple of the Ceramics. In on the tackle, Aaron Ader.
And that time the counter play, as you really have to wait for it to develop, and getting out in front of that play was Brian Mox, the sophomore, to make a block to allow him to cut up for a couple yards gain.
Second down at about 8 yards for the Tri-Valley Scotties. Andy Darr with Hirschberger and Kilpatrick. Fakes the hand up to Kilpatrick, looking for a receiver, looking for J.J. Sabine. Sabine's there to make the catch at the 30, takes it down inside the 25 to the 22-yard line before he's forced out of bounds by Sean Carr.
Well, that time Sabine and T.J. Mumford, the Crooksville defender, both really played center field, and Sabine able to read it a little bit better and go get the ball. So the up for grabs pass thrown by Andy Darr, but J.J. Sabine really made the play. He back over his shoulder, kind of a Willie Mays catch going to center field that time. Good athletic ability and the big gainer, big play for Tri-Valley.
Call it about a 41-yard gain on the pass for the Tri-Valley Scotties. Trying to tie this game up. They trail 7-0. And the handoff goes to Kilpatrick after Darr was run into by Nate Hirschberger in the backfield, and they've got a flag on the play, an illegal motion on behalf of the Tri-Valley Scotties, and that will move the Scotties back a few more yards.
Nate Hirschberger that time got started just a little bit early, and referee Ken Keefe right there to see the tailback move and assess the penalty. Finally, we'll move it back now.
Second down for the Tri-Valley Scotties from the 30-yard line of the Crooksville Ceramics, and it'll be second down and about 20 yards to go. A 7-0 lead for Crooksville. 4:01 left to go in this first quarter. The referees talking things over, trying to figure out exactly where they're going to mark the penalty off from. And they're going to move the ball forward, move it down to about the 25-yard line, so maybe it'll only 26-yard line. So it'll only be 1st and 15 instead of 1st and 20. So a little bit of a break there for the Tri-Valley Scotties.
And the appropriate mark on a first down, 5-yard penalty should be first down and 15.
Dar takes the snap, pitches to Kilpatrick. Kilpatrick around the left side. He's got a little bit of room. He fumbles the ball, and Crooksville looks like they may have fallen on it again, and they did. But Crooksville Ceramics will take the ball right back, and it looks like that was Ryan Devers. Actually, it might have been Aaron Ader who fell on that fumble.
Well, not totally unpredictable, the Crooksville defense being tough. They are year after year a very, very tough squad, and that time just a big hit put on.
Kilpatrick just took it around the left side, went up, and he was hit hard, and the ball popped out, and it was Aaron Ader, in fact, who did fall on that fumble for the Crooksville Ceramics. So the Ceramics will take it 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line with 3:30 left to go in the first quarter, a 7-0 lead for the Ceramics. And Blake takes the ball. He takes it around the left side, outside the 30 to the 35, and brought down after a gain of about 15 and a first down for Crooksville.
Well, I'll tell you who made that play was T.J. Mumford. Mumford came out on a block from a wide position and just sustained his block down the field. And Chuck Blake read it perfectly, and a lot of runners will try to outrun the blocker and then get tackled by the person the blocker's defending against. That time, Blake held back, followed T.J. Mumford down the field, and got the most out of it. Terrific gain, first down for the Ceramics.
1st and 10 from the 36-yard line. The handoff goes to Taylor. Taylor takes it up across the 40 to the 41. Gets hit at the 45 and almost breaks free, but he makes it out to the 48-yard line for another first down for Crooksville. A nice run there by Mike Taylor.
And I'll tell you, Taylor is just that kind of runner. He's going to intimidate a lot of people as he brings that 206-pound frame out of the backfield. And you can tell as he comes through because he's taller than most of the players on the defensive squad. He kind of winds his way through the pack there, and he put his head down in just a shoestring tackle to bring him down on that good straight-ahead running.
So it'll be 1st and 10 again for the Crooksville Ceramics. 2:44 left to go in the first quarter. A 7-0 lead for Crooksville. Ross takes the snap, hands off to Taylor up the middle. Taylor across the 50 to the 45-yard line before he's brought down after a gain of 7 yards. So the Crooksville offense just running it right over these Tri-Valley Scotties right here on this drive.
Well, as we mentioned, this front line going on the average at about 240, 245 pounds, really doing the job as they're moving Tri-Valley forward. And when you've got a running back like Mike Taylor, 6'1", 206, as long as he keeps going forward, he's going to get good positive gain, and that time a big 8 yards on the first down play.
Handoff goes to Blake up the middle, and he is brought down for no gain right at the line of scrimmage, maybe even lost a few inches on that one. So it will move to 3rd down for the Crooksville Ceramics. 3rd down and 3 yards to go. Ball on the 45-yard line of the Tri-Valley Scotties.
And as soon as we said that the line was pushing that time, Tri-Valley came right back and really played it to the middle, really took the chance that the ball was going to come through the middle, played it right, and made a good stop.
3rd and 3, 1.5 minutes left to go. And the Crooksville Ceramics want a timeout. We'll keep it right here, 1 minute, 30 seconds left to go in the first quarter. The Crooksville Ceramics leading this one 7-0, and Kevin, Crooksville for a minute there seemed to be driving right through that defensive line, but then on that last play, Tri-Valley really stepped things up and put in a couple of hard hits for no gain.
Well, Tri-Valley's got a good squad right up the middle, and that time, again, a little bit of a defensive play, a little bit of a surge in the middle. It turned out to be the right play and a good momentum stopper. Whenever you find yourself getting in a rut a little bit where in that drive, a couple of good runs to start things out, you've got to take a chance and get a stop going to get the confidence back. Good coaching by the Tri-Valley sideline to get the guys in that kind of formation to get in there and make that stop. And now, big 3rd down play, if you're Tri-Valley, obviously you're trying to stop and get the ball back. They've shown they can move the ball. The tough thing right now for Tri-Valley, they've got to hang on to the ball. They've got the running backs to move down the field in terms of the running game, although passing not bad either. Sabine able to haul that one in going down on the last drive. So they just need to get the ball in their hands and then hold on to it.
Well, the Crooksville Ceramics seem to have ball control offense on their mind right now. They're just going to stick with this running game. At least that's what it appears. 3rd down and about 3 yards left to go. Ball's on the 45-yard line. Still in the first quarter with 1:28 left to go. Crooksville leading 7-0. Handoff goes to Taylor off the right tackle. Takes it down to the 42-yard line. Awful close to the first down. Have to see what the official, exactly where the official is going to spot the ball to see if that is a first down. And they're going to call it 4th down. 4th and inches.
Well, I might want to measure it there.
That's about a 3-yard gain. That one's awful close. Tough to tell from the angle that we're seeing at.
And Mike Taylor, if the viewers see, and we can tell you that he's number 89, may be a little bit confusing. He was a tight end last year, and he's moved back to the backfield. So an uncharacteristic number for a tailback.
Got an extra running back in the backfield. Handoff goes to Blake. Blake's got the first down and more. He's inside the 30, and he's going to break free for the touchdown. A 42-yard touchdown run for Chuck Blake to go along with a 41-yard touchdown run by Taylor earlier on, and the Crooksville Ceramics have a 13-0 lead.
Well, you live by the sword, you die by the sword, and that time TriValley brought everybody up to the line to try to make the stop, and once you get past that initial wave, you're gone. And that time Blake was able to do that. Once he got into the backfield, and again, he just keeps those legs moving and showed good speed. Off to the races he goes, and no one was going to catch him.
He really only had one tackle to break, and he broke that right at the line of scrimmage, and after that, he had nobody to come anywhere near him. Shuley on to kick the extra point for the Ceramics. It is up, and it is no good, so it is 13-0. The Crooksville Ceramics enjoying this lead. 39.3 seconds left to go here in the first quarter, and Crooksville looking good early on, other than that one drive where they were penalized quite a bit, but you take away those penalties, and everything seems to be clicking for the Crooksville offense.
Well, that offensive line, and we talked about how big they are, but they're doing a terrific job being able to make some holes for those guys to get through. That time, Blake really did a good job to break through the line, and TriValley, who on an earlier play we had talked about how they'd focused in and been able to make the stop. That time the focus on a play that usually there is going to be a focus in that 4th down play, then once you get past that, you've got daylight, and if you've got somebody fast enough, and Blake was fast enough, then they are going to be able to go all the way.
So the TriValley Scotties will have one more chance here in the first quarter. They're trailing this one 13-0. They've had their opportunities, a couple of fumbles. They had one fumble inside Crooksville territory, inside the 30-yard line, when they lost the ball, and Crooksville got it back. But the Scotties will be receiving here and starting over from scratch. Kilpatrick is deep, along with D.M. Ford and Adam Kendrick. And kicking off is Scott Hout for the Ceramics. The kick goes short, but D.M. Ford comes in to get it. He takes it at about the 23-yard line, takes it out to the 40, the 45, hit hard and taken out of bounds. Nice run back, though, by D.M. Ford.
Ford, a transfer from Zanesville, showed good speed that time, and again, did the right thing. You find a seam, you go upfield. You don't have any lateral movement, and good field position to start things out for the Scotties.
Scotties will start out on their own 44-yard line, 1st and 10. Andy Darr along with Nate Hirschberger and Dustin Hood. The handoff goes to Hood to the left side. Hood hit hard right at the 45-yard line, and another fumble, and the Crooksville Ceramics have it once again. Crooksville just taking advantage of every single mistake that TriValley has made tonight.
Well, and we talked before the game about mistakes in two young teams, and when you have those kind of mistakes and teams can capitalize, it becomes very, very difficult for your young squad.
In on the fumble recovery that time was Kevin Caton for the Crooksville Ceramics.
I believe that's his second pickup on a fumble this evening.
And the Ceramics will start things out in the second quarter. That's going to do it for the first quarter. The TriValley Scotties trailing the Crooksville Ceramics by a score of 13-0. Back at Crooksville Stadium. Crooksville with the ball. Handoff goes to Blake. Blake takes it inside the 40 to the 39-yard line in a game of about 3. 2nd and 7 for the Ceramics.
Jeff Shawinski that time grabbed an ankle of Blake and just held on for dear life as Blake carried the ball, and they knew that if he got through that wave again, that he was a good chance he was going to find the end zone. So Shawinski did a good job to hold on to him and bring him down.
2nd down, 7 yards to go. Ball on the 39-yard line. Ross drops back to pass, looking deep to the right side for Addington. Addington makes the catch, but he drops it. Bill Addington had his hands on the ball at about the 7-yard line and had a chance for another Crooksville touchdown, but just could not hang on to the ball.
Boy, Addington that time did not waste any time at the line of scrimmage. He lined up as soon as the snap went off. He took off down the right sideline, and Ross did a nice job to lay it out there. Kendrick back on the defense, and believe me, Adam Kendrick is now breathing a sigh of relief as Addington not able to hold on to it.
That was almost an instant 6 for the Crooksville Ceramics. They already lead 13-0. Ross rolls out to his left this side, looking downfield. He's got an open receiver. Making the catch is Sean Carr. Sean Carr pushed out of bounds at about the 25-yard line, but there's a flag on the play.
Boy, Carr did a nice job to come back to that pass. Signs of a good receiver to come back and grab the ball.
Holding on the Crooksville Ceramics, so that'll get rid of that play. A nice 14-yard gain erased.
Boy, when the Ceramics, the only problem that they've had this evening is the penalty.
And that could prove to hurt them throughout the season if this is a problem that they continue to have. If they were to get into a game, or if this game were even to become closer, if Tri-Valley starts to put some points on the board and it gets closer, those penalties are going to mean a lot more than they did in the first quarter.
Well, and that's another sign of a young team, is not only mistakes with losing the ball or missing an assignment, but in getting the penalty.
Brad Ross takes the snap, fakes the handoff to Taylor, drops back in the pocket, heavy pressure by the Scotties, and Ross is almost going to get sacked, and he finally is. He fumbles the ball, picked up, and they're going to call that an incomplete pass. They will not call that a fumble. The referees are going to say that he was sacked and he was fumbled, or that it was an incomplete pass. It's hard to say, but I almost would be willing to say that that may have been a fumble.
Well, it certainly was close, as Ross that time, he tried to look for, it was a screen pass that was set up on the right side. And a little bit, the pursuit was good, and by the time he had a chance to throw, really, the receiver not there, and boy, I'll tell you, when you turn around and see somebody in your face like that, a scary proposition.
I think the Ceramics got a little bit of help on that one. That one probably should have been ruled a fumble, but they will be punting. And punting to the Tri-Valley Scotties. And that one's going to bounce out of bounds at about the 17-yard line is where they will mark it. So that's where the Tri-Valley Scotties will take it. They'll take it 1st and 10 on their own 17. 10:54 left to go in the first half. The Crooksville Ceramics leading the Tri-Valley Scotties 13-0 on 2 touchdowns back in the first quarter. Mike Taylor with a 41-yard touchdown on the second play from scrimmage for the Ceramics. And then it was Chuck Blake with a 42-yard touchdown late in the first quarter, and it's 13-0. So the Scotties will take the ball on their own 17-yard line. First down, 10 yards to go, and a flag on the play.
And the entire front of the Crooksville defense moved, and that will be the call.
One of those hard counts, and that'll do it to you sometimes.
Well, and also Tri-Valley's been going on a consistent count. You can use that to your advantage as the game progresses, because then the defensive linemen take it for granted that that'll be the snap count. And that time it cost them.
First and 4. The pitch goes to Kilpatrick, and he's tackled for a loss in the backfield and brought down by Brad Ross.
Well, and that's a situation that with Kilpatrick there, you were so worried about losing the ball because the fumbles have happened so often for Tri-Valley in this first half that you take a little bit off your edge, a little bit off your speed because you're concentrating on hanging on to the ball. And Kilpatrick that time just not able to get to the outside and beat Ross.
So it'll be 2nd down, 11 yards to go. From their own 17. The reverse, and taking it the other way is Adam Kendrick, but he's caught. And that one didn't fool the Crooksville Ceramics.
Well, and what you teach the defensive line is you've got to stay in your position. You've got to take your spot until you see the play absolutely developed. And good play that time by Crooksville to stay at home, and Kendrick really did not have a chance to cut inside where you want to bring that play and get yardage downfield.
Kilpatrick took the original handoff and then handed it off to Kendrick. And as you mentioned, Kendrick just had nowhere to go on that one, and it's 3rd down, 11 yards to go. 9:35 left to go in the first half with the Ceramics leading 13-0. Andy Darr takes the snap. Handoff goes to Kilpatrick, and he brings it up to about the 18, maybe the 19-yard line. And it'll be 4th down for the Tri-Valley Scotties, and they will be forced to punt.
It's going to be 4th and 9.
And Tri-Valley that time really not taking the chance. A little surprising they didn't try to toss it out. J.J. Sabine split way out and has shown good speed. Maybe let him throw one up and try to let him get under it. That time electing to try to get some yardage to set up some field position for the punt.
Sean Carr is the deep man for the Crooksville Ceramics along with Brian Gorby. The punt is, or excuse me, that's Brad Ross. The punt, and he touches it, does Sean Carr, and Crooksville ends up getting it. Sean Carr tried to make the catch on the punt, and he got it on his hands, and he slipped. The ball rolled back to the 30-yard line, and he went back after it and picked it up, and he was brought down there by the Tri-Valley Scotties.
Ian Kilpatrick for the Scotties saw that he had dropped the ball, made an all-out effort to beat him to the ball, but just couldn't quite get there. But he had a bead on it, and if there'd been any problem, he'd have been right there.
So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Crooksville Ceramics at their own 30-yard line. 8.5 minutes left to go in the first half, with Crooksville leading 13-0. Taylor and Blake in the I formation behind Brad Ross. Ross drops back to pass. Forced out of the pocket, rolling to his left. He'll keep it himself, takes it out up to the 35 and brought down at the 36-yard line after a gain of about 6 yards.
We're streaking down the field that time in the middle of the play was Sean Carr, but Ross never saw him. There's a lot of linemen in the way, and it would have been a tough throw to get back there, so he decided to take it himself, and big hit put on by Sean McClellan that time of the Scotties.
2nd down, 4 yards to go. Call it a 6-yard gain. On the 36-yard line. Handoff goes to Blake. Blake takes it up to the 40, and he's got the 1st down for Crooksville. Finally brought down at about the 43-yard line.
Dusty Meadows that time and on the play along with Jeff Shawinski to make the stop for the Scotties, but not before Chuck Blake gets the 1st down.
1st and 10 from their own 43. The Crooksville Ceramics with the ball, and they also lead this game 13-0. Ross takes the snap, handoff to Blake. Blake is stopped before he even gets back to the line of scrimmage, and a loss of about 2 yards for Chuck Blake.
A little bit of miscommunication that time between Ross and Blake, and a player down for Tri-Valley.
As soon as we get a number on that player down on Tri-Valley, looks like it could be Dustin Hood, if that's a number 20.
And he was right in the stack of players there around the ball. Again, Crooksville not able to make the play as it was the option again, but Ross and Blake miscommunicated as to which side of the ball they were going to go on that time.
Well, that's number 50, Jason Shoemaker, down on the field, laying face down on the ground, and not a whole lot of movement from Shoemaker. We're going to take a short break here and come back. Hopefully we'll have some good news. The Crooksville Ceramics are leading this one by a score of 13-0 with 7:17 left to go in the first half. Real serious injury. He's able to walk off the field, so that's good news. If we find out exactly what the injury is, we will definitely pass that along to you. 13-0, the Crooksville Ceramics lead. 6:50 left to go in the first half. Brad Ross with Chuck Blake and Mike Taylor in the backfield. Ross drops back to pass, looking to the right, and he's looking for Kyle Shuley. Shuley's there, almost makes the catch, and once again, another opportunity for Crooksville with a touchdown. There was nobody behind Kyle Shuley after the 35-yard line. He had open field and could have been 6 more points, but he dropped the ball.
Boy, everybody kind of breathed out there as it happened. J.J. Sabine came over to make the play as Ross, long throw down the right side, And Shuley got behind Sabine, but Sabine might have caused enough commotion there that he wasn't able to keep his eye on it. Sabine taking the gamble, and it paid off.
Crooksville will have to punt, 4th and 13. The kick is on the way, and it is going to be taken by DM Ford. Almost loses it, but gets it right back, right at about the 33 or 32-yard line. And it'll be 1st and 10 for the Tri-Valley Scotties.
Well, I'll tell you, if you're the Tri-Valley coaching squad, I know one of the things they're going to work on this week, just not able to hang on to the ball, and it's just a kind of a jinx thing going now, and you want to work out of it and tell your players, just hold on, but do all the things that you're supposed to do and don't worry about it too much.
13-0 Crooksville, 6:15 left to go in the first half.
And for all the trouble that Tri-Valley's had, really not out of this ball game at all.
There's still plenty of time. The pass goes to the right side to J.J. Sabine, brings it up to the 40 and forced out of bounds. Almost forced out of bounds, but he really stayed in bounds. Boy, what a play there by Sabine. I tell you what, he almost looked like he was right with his teammates out of bounds, which is why I said that. He then did a little spin move and came back and got about 3 more yards out to the 47-yard line.
Well, we mentioned how far out he splits from the rest of the line, and with a person of his caliber in terms of speed, quickness, when you bring somebody out that far out, you isolate them and let them take advantage of their skills. And that time, good spin move at the sidelines to get some extra yardage.
1st and 10 once again for Tri-Valley. Dar back to pass, looks to the left side, and he finds Kendrick. Kendrick hit hard by Brad Ross and thrown down after a gain of about 3 yards.
Well, Ross doing his part to show that the quarterbacks are pretty tough when they get on the defensive side. Is he had good coverage that time and wrapped Kendrick up as soon as he grabbed hold of the ball and kept it to short gain.
2nd down, 8 yards to go for the Tri-Valley Scotties, who are trailing 13-0, looking to get themselves on the scoreboard. They're at their own 49-yard line, trying to move into Crooksville territory. Dar back to pass, looks to the right. J.J. Sabine is there, but he overshot him. And there's going to be a penalty on the play and a late hit, apparently. And it looks like that was Brian Gorby who laid the late hit on J.J. Sabine. Sabine hit hard, and now he's down on the ground. Dar was dropping back to pass, looking to his right. And there is, that was actually
Cato Coleman.
Cato Coleman who had the late hit there. And really, that was definitely a late hit. He got him right in the middle of the back.
Well, the back judge.
And well, it was well after the ball was past him.
Excuse me, Mark. Yeah, and that play, the back judge, it's his call. And he had really given up on the play, and Coleman, the back judge obviously felt he could see the ball pass by and know that there was no play. And I almost said at the time as the ball went up that Sabine did the smart thing by not going up all the way, because you really open yourself up to get hit, and he got hit anyway.
And Sabine appears to be okay. He hops up and jogs over to the side of the field. So the unsportsmanlike conduct will go against the Crooksville Ceramics and Cato Coleman for that late hit.
We have a report. TJ Munford sitting on the sidelines now for Crooksville with a shoulder injury.
Dar with a handoff to Hood, and Hood is met by just about the entire defensive line of the Crooksville Ceramics for a loss of about 5 yards.
Well, one of the things you want to do on a draw play like that is let the outside pursuit come in and then cut inside of it, but you can't let the inside pursuit in as well. And that time everybody and his brother came in and were able to make the stop.
4:22 left to go in the first half. The Crooksville Ceramics leading this one 13-0. 2nd down and 15 for the Tri-Valley Scotties. And they have the ball at the Crooksville 40-yard line. Andy Dar drops back to pass, looks to the right side, looking deep for Ford, and leaping up and making the catch out of bounds was the Crooksville defender.
Brian Gorby.
Brian Gorby, but it was out of bounds, so they will not give him the interception on that one. Call it an incomplete pass. And it'll be 3rd and 15.
And again, when you get hit on that, it really becomes a center field play. And Gorby did not get any feet in bounds, but made a good play to get over there and break things up. If that name sounds familiar, his dad, also Brian Gorby, was a lineman here at Crooksville, an outstanding player in his day.
Dar drops back to pass, drops back all the way to the 50. A little screen pass over to the left side for Hirschberger. He's got a couple blockers down to the 30, the 25, close to the first down for Nate Hirschberger. A nice play there for the Tri-Valley Scotties, as Hirschberger had 3 blockers in front of him and was able to get the yardage, and that'll be a first down for Tri-Valley. A big play for the Scotties.
And Crooksville, on their part this time, dying by the sword as they brought everybody again. And anybody who's played anything from electric football on up knows that when you bring everybody on the screenplay, boy, you are really vulnerable, and that time Tri-Valley executed it very well.
3:35 left to go in the first half, and the Tri-Valley Scotties knocking on the door. 13-0 Crooksville. Dar back to pass, looks to the right side, and he finds Ford. Ford is hit hard, and fumble on the play, possibly? Awful close.
I think Ford got it back.
Tri-Valley will hold on to the ball.
Complete to 4, tackled by Taylor.
And it'll be 2nd down and 9 after a gain of 1.
And Dar just getting the ball away. He was ready to be hit again from the backside. He hasn't had a lot of time to throw, but that time able to get the completion for short yardage.
Under 3 minutes left to go in the first half. 2nd and 9 from the 24. Dar drops back to pass once again, looking over the middle. Pass is too high and intercepted by Crooksville. And making the pickoff was Brian Gorby at inside his own 10-yard line, and about the 7-yard line. Crooksville stops the Tri-Valley Scotties from scoring once again.
And this time, Cato Coleman from his free safety position came up and made a big hit on Adam Kendrick as Kendrick went for the ball. A good play this time. Big hit, and labeled the interception.
That's the old tip drill that you practice over and over and over. When those defensive backs have the opportunity to make one of those catches, those are the interceptions that you get the easy way. Handoff goes to Blake up the middle. He fights his way for about 6 yards. And a nice gain for Chuck Blake. Crooksville with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left to go in the first half, leading this one 13-0.
And really, in a lot of ways, Tri-Valley fortunate that it is only 13-0.
2nd down and 4. Ball on the 13-yard line. Two minutes left to go in the first half. Handoff goes to Taylor. Taylor takes it off the left side, out across the 20, inside, just about to the 23-yard line. Brings it up for a gain of almost 10 and a first down.
Nothing fancy for Taylor. Again, he just is able to get going forward, keep going forward, and it takes a few guys to bring him down. And by the time they brought him down that time, did Tri-Valley, it was first down and 10.
The Crooksville running attack has been doing everything right so far, and that's why they've got their 13-0 lead. A couple of big runs, a 41-yard touchdown run by Taylor and a 42-yard rush touchdown run by Blake. Handoff goes to Blake up the middle, but he's stopped right at the line of scrimmage. Hit very quickly by Tri-Valley, and number 54, C.J. Mercer, in there to make the tackle.
Tri-Valley tough up the middle. Mercer that time really took on a couple of folks to get in there and make that good, hard tackle.
Call it a gain of 1, 2nd down, 9 yards to go. They're on their own 24-yard line, are the Crooksville Ceramics. The snap is taken and the handoff goes to Taylor. Taylor fights his way out into the 30-yard line, brings it up to maybe the 31 for a gain of about 6-yard line. Gain of about 6, excuse me. Under 1 minute left to go in the first half.
Obviously, Crooksville doesn't want to take any chances and make a mistake that would allow Tri-Valley to get within one score.
I think the way the things have been going, that the Ceramics would be very happy going into halftime with a 13-point lead.
I don't think Tri-Valley wants to take the chance right now, maybe regroup at halftime and bring the offense out in a strong fashion in the second half.
Handoff goes to Blake to the left side, stopped for a loss of a couple of yards, and it'll be 4th down. 20 seconds left to go, and there will be a timeout by the Tri-Valley Scotties. 19.9 seconds left to go in the first half. The Scotties will be taking the punt. It is 4th down and 3. The Crooksville Ceramics will kick it away.
And really a good decision there, obviously, to call the timeout. A lot of things can happen on a punt. It'll be interesting to see how TriValley approaches it, whether they want to try to rush it, bring everybody, or set up a return. J.J. Sabine is the player that is back in punt receiving formation, and he is, we've seen, is very quick, very fast, and can make some things happen. So good decision to let him get his hands on the ball here before the break.
91 yards rushing on the night so far, Chuck Blake, and he also has a 42-yard touchdown run to his credit.
As we mentioned, he has a low center of gravity. We've seen a lot of players that if they keep the legs moving, they're strong enough, and he certainly is strong enough to bounce off the first couple of tackles, and also fast enough then, as we saw in the touchdown run, to really turn the burners on and move it down the field.
13-0 lead for the Crooksville Ceramics. And TriValley will be taking the punt. J.J. Sabine is the deep man for the TriValley Scotties, and Brian Gorby doing the punting for the Ceramics. The kick is on the way, and Sabine makes it back to his 35-yard line to take the punt. Takes it upfield to the 40, the 40, excuse me. Brought down at the 40 for a gain of 5 on the return. Really, he was just kind of jogging around a little bit there. Didn't really take the ball and run directly upfield. And another TriValley Scotty is down on the field.
It appear to be, well, I won't guess. It looked like Joe Smith, but we'll check it. And really on the return that time, J.J. Sabine, it really is a guy who kind of makes his own breaks, was looking for a seam someplace and just didn't find it. Finally decided to take it up the middle. And by that time, the pursuit was all there, and we're able to bring him down.
8.9 seconds left to go in the first half. The Ceramics leading this one 13-0. And really, the TriValley Scotties, their pass has been working fairly well, other than the one interception, and that was on a tip. And that's pretty much what their only hope now, to get some points on the board before they go into the half.
Well, and in pursuing the passing game and trying to break it up a little bit, you want to be able to throw to the sidelines as they have on a couple of occasions. In particular, D.M. Ford has been the person they've looked to in that quick out situation. But Sabine is the guy that can really break it long, and I would look that they'll break it up between those two kinds of attacks. That is the quick out, and then maybe try to cash in with something long. They need a big play, and if they get it, again, they're only one score down if they're able to cash in on that sort of thing. And if you're the TriValley coaching staff, you want to be able to go in at halftime and say, look, fellas, we've had some problems. We've learned some things from this first half, but we're not out of this by any stretch of the imagination. And we just need to keep going right at them, because we've shown we can move the ball, and that's what we're going to do.
Joe Smith being helped off the field after an apparent right ankle injury. That seemed to be what they were looking at while he was laying on the field, and based on the way he's being helped off, it's definitely something with his right leg. 13-0 Crooksville. 8.9 seconds left to go in the first half, and TriValley has one, maybe two plays left, depending on how quickly they can get them off. Dar drops back to pass, looking deep, and he's looking for Sabine, but it's picked off by Crooksville. Picked off by Sean Carr, takes it up to the 40. He's at the 45-yard line and brought down, and that's going to do it for the first half. The Crooksville Ceramics end the first half with an interception by Sean Carr, and the Crooksville by a score of 13-0. And now it's time to take a look at the Crooksville Ceramics Band. Ceramics lead this one at halftime, 13-0. We've got some halftime statistics to tell you about. Crooksville on the rushing side of things with 185 yards rushing to TriValley's 10 yards rushing. Crooksville, no yards passing. They've had a couple opportunities for some big ones that have been dropped. TriValley, though, 75 yards through the air. They've got a successful passing attack so far. They just haven't gotten it into the end zone. Penalty-wise, Crooksville been penalized 5 times for 37 yards, and TriValley has been penalized twice for a total of 10 yards. So the numbers in favor of the Ceramics, including the score, which is 13-0, and the TriValley Scotties, if they can get that passing attack to continue to as well as they've been throwing early, they could do some damage. They could put some points on the board.
Well, and I think that's how they're going to get back into this one. Coach Kaiser, I'm sure, talked to them about, again, mixing up that quick out with the long pass downfield to Sabine, who's able to run it down. I think that's what we'll see when TriValley opens on this first possession here in the second half.
Scott Hauk with a short kickoff, and TriValley takes it. Jason Latham. Latham takes it at the 35-yard line and just kind of falls down with it. So they will mark that at the 34. And it'll be 1st and 10 for the TriValley Scotties, trailing 13-0. Important for the Scotties to get going here on their first drive, because if they can put some points on the board on their first drive, then they're right back in this game and they're in there quick.
Well, exactly, and they're only 2 scores down anyway, and with a missed extra point, there's certainly a lot of opportunities to take a lead on a couple of scores. So this first drive is important to get some momentum going for them and establish a game that really they took into the end of the first half.
And Nate Hirschberger, the lone setback, and they decide to throw. The throw goes to DM Ford. Ford hit hard.
There's pass, complete to Ford.
And he was hit by Brad Ross, the quarterback for the Ceramics, who also playing in the defensive back position, and a gain of about 5 yards for the TriValley Scotties, and it'll be 2nd down, make it 4 yards, 2nd down and 6. They're on their own 38-yard line.
When Ford just didn't have a shot as he caught the ball, did a good job to hang on to it.
It looks like the Crooksville Ceramics want an early timeout here. 11:15 left to go in the third quarter, and Crooksville is leading this one 13-0. And the Tri-Valley Scotties open up with the pass as we expected them to.
Coach Craig Spring not wasting any time. Must have seen something that he didn't like in terms of the defensive backfield. On that play, as Ford went out to the left side, Adam Kendrick, his own player out in front of him, really didn't know where the ball was in the formation. He might have been able to block Ross coming around that way. So things a little confused, but on the Crooksville side of it, obviously something they didn't like in terms of coverage and what they saw some potential. And Craig Spring, a good enough coach to recognize that early, didn't want to waste any time, took the time out to get everybody squared away.
And Tri-Valley splitting a lot of people out to adding an extra receiver on the offense in that last play when Nate Hirschberger, the fullback, was the only running back in the backfield behind sophomore quarterback Andy Darr. Have to see if they stay with that formation or if they're going to go back to their normal set and have another running back there. And it looks like Hirschberger is going to be the only, actually that's not Hirschberger out there this time. Looks like Brad Mercer. And rolling out to pass is Darr. Pass is thrown behind the intended receiver, which was Ian Kilpatrick, and incomplete. So it'll be 3rd down and about 6.
The Cato Coleman, that time in the defensive secondaries, he plays free safety back there, is ready to lay the hit. That time he laid off. We saw him get penalized in the first half for a late hit, but he really is a tough guy there at his free safety position. So he's going to be roaming on this pass defense. We'll look for him to play a big part of the defense for Crooksville.
Darr drops back to pass, looks over the middle, and once again throws behind his intended receiver. Adam Kendrick that time was the intended receiver. And it's going to be 4th down for the Tri-Valley Scotties, so they fail to convert on their first opportunity here in the second half, and the struggle continues for the Scotties.
Although that time there was no doubt about what the game plan was. They came out and threw 3 times to try to establish the passing game. I don't think they'll go away from that either. Receivers really open. That time passed just a little bit behind them there in the middle part of the field.
Sean Carr and Brad Ross deep for the Crooksville Ceramics. The kick is on the way, and it's going to be Sean Carr taking it at the 29-yard line, loses it, and he is able to fall on it, but he kneeled down to get that one and just kind of slipped right through his fingertips, but luckily he was able to turn right around and fall on it, and they will take the ball 1st and 10 on their own 27-yard line, will the Crooksville Ceramics.
Little deja vu that time as Sean Carr went back to get it, and Ian Kilpatrick tried to race him to get to the ball, and Ian Kilpatrick 0 for 2 trying to beat him, but you have a feeling that he's going to be able to narrow in on it if Sean Carr can't hold on to it.
10 minutes, 50 seconds left to go in the 3rd quarter. A 13-0 lead for the Crooksville Ceramics. Chuck Blake and Mike Taylor both having good days offensively for the Crooksville Ceramics. It's Blake this time with the ball. He takes it up across the 30-yard line to the 31 for a gain of 3, and it'll be 2nd and 7.
And what you like about Blake on those kind of plays, he keeps his feet underneath him and can develop. Now that time a short gain, but he did not go down on initial contact. He kept sliding to the hole and able to get something really when there was nothing there.
2nd down, 7 yards to go for the Crooksville Ceramics. And the running game has worked well for them throughout the first half, and have to imagine that they're going to stick with it. Handoff, and a fake handoff it is this time, and Brad Ross on the quarterback draw. He's down to the 40, down to the 30, and he's brought down from behind inside the 25-yard line, maybe all the way down to the 20, but Brad Ross with a little quarterback draw there. The fake handoff went to Chuck Blake, and Ross just turned around and went right up the hole, and a big gain for Brad Ross.
Well, if on this play for the Crooksville Ceramics, what they did, they ran a crossbuck, a counter really in the middle. It opened up a hole completely for Ross. As Ross took it down, really the only player that could catch him, J.J. Sabine, was able to get down there and make a whale of a play to stop it.
A 48-yard run for Ross, and he hands this one off to Mike Taylor, and Taylor is stopped right about the line of scrimmage, maybe a gain of about 1 or 2.
Well, that's a terrific play call, going back to the play before that where you have the counter action. And if you're not going with the first fake, then you're certainly going for the counter play if you're the defense, and it just left the hole wide open, evenly split down the middle there. And Ross took great advantage of it right up the middle. Sabine, again, good speed to chase him down.
2nd down, 8 yards to go. The Crooksville Ceramics are on the 19-yard line of the Tri-Valley Scotties. Big plays have been the key for the Ceramics. A couple of big touchdown runs of over 40 yards and that big run of over 50 yards. And there's a handoff to Taylor. Taylor takes it inside the 15 And they're going to spot it at the 15. His forward progress just after he was thrown down brought him inside, but they're going to mark that at the 15-yard line. And it'll be 3rd down and 4 after a gain of 4 for the Crooksville Ceramics.
And a big play for the Tri-Valley defense now is they need to get a big stop here and try to get some momentum back for themselves. 3 scores is tough. 2, obviously, they feel they can deal with.
3rd and 4 from the 15. Handoff, or the fake handoff to Blake once again, and it's Ross keeping it, taking it to the right side this time. He looks like he gets inside the 10 to about the 9-yard line, and that's going to be a 1st down for Crooksville.
Well, he just kind of wended his way through the traffic there, and I don't think Tri-Valley really picked him up having the ball off the flag. They were really looking for Blake up the middle, and Ross took advantage of it off that right side and just kind of sneaked around until he got the 1st down.
Brad Ross, with a little help from his offensive line, has led the Crooksville Ceramics on this big drive. This is one of their longest drives of the day. This time the pitch goes to Taylor. Taylor takes it to the left side, gets it down inside the 6 to about the 5-yard line. And it'll be 2nd down and goal.
2nd and goal, ball on the 5.
For the Ceramics. And an official timeout on the field. 2nd and 5 from the 5-yard line for the Crooksville Ceramics. And it's that running game of the Ceramics that's just punishing the Tri-Valley defense right now, Kevin.
Well, and the offensive line, let's talk about those guys up front, Taylor, Ansel, Hall, Caton, and Rice, doing a good job and really creating opportunities. All you want them to do is create a crack someplace in that front wall of the Tri-Valley defense, and they've done that. And Crooksville, who I thought would throw a little bit and try to loosen it up, really hasn't had to do that. They've been able to get those cracks in the line and be very opportunistic and pick up good games.
And after the timeout on the field, the Crooksville Ceramics want a timeout. 7:47 left to go here in the 3rd quarter, and it is 13-0. Crooksville is in the lead. Crooksville with a couple of big plays leading to their touchdowns. Early on, it was a 41-yard touchdown run from Mike Taylor on the 2nd play from scrimmage for the Ceramics, and that made it 7-0 Crooksville. And then it was Chuck Blake later in the 1st quarter with a 42-yard touchdown run, and the extra point was no good, and that made it 13-0, which is where we stand now. And on this drive, it was a big 48-yard run on the quarterback draw from Brad Ross, and that is what has put the Crooksville Ceramics in the position that they are now, 2nd down and goal with the ball on the 5-yard line, and the Ceramics looking pretty good here tonight.
Well, and the play again by Ross, a very interesting play. I think a lot of teams will look at that play to see how Crooksville managed it, because it's not your typical quarterback draw where the quarterback takes a couple steps back and then takes it right up the middle. That one was a fake on the counter play. Almost looked like a mistake that he didn't get it to the counter person, and the middle opened wide open.
Crooksville ready to go. And Brad Ross, the quarterback, takes the snap, hands off to Blake. Blake goes to the left side, caught in the backfield, but fights through the tackle, and he's going to go into the end zone for a touchdown. What a run by Chuck Blake. It looked like he was dead to rights back at about the 7 or 8 yard line. A couple of Scotties had their arms around him, but they just didn't bring him down when they had the opportunity. He fought his way into the end zone for a touchdown.
And with Chuck Blake, you just cannot arm tackle him, as he took it off the left side that time, worked very hard, dragged a player from Tri-Valley, hits, and then just keeps driving into the end zone. Again, good balance and good drive with his legs, and it was 6 points for the Ceramics.
2 touchdowns now on the night for Chuck Blake, and the score is 19-0 in favor of the Ceramics. The Ceramics are going to go for 2 to try and get it up to 21. Brad Ross takes the snap, rolls out to his right, looking in the end zone for the pass, and it is complete to Chuck Blake. So a 2-point conversion for Blake after he scores the touchdown, and a big 8 points for Chuck Blake, and it is now 21-0 in favor of the Crooksville Ceramics.
And I'll tell you, Ross actually was very nice to Chuck Blake, because Ross could have run that one in by himself. As he went around the right side, all the motion went left, and then the pivot around to the right side, and Blake was wide open, and so was Ross.
We're going to take a short break here. 7:39 left to go in the third. Ceramics lead 21-0. Also has 99 yards rushing, but Chuck Blake is enjoying a very successful night here for the Crooksville offense, as is the entire Crooksville offense. And the Ceramics kicking off another short kick. And it is once again bobbled by Jason Latham, goes right to him, and he sits on it at about the 33-yard line. And it'll be 1st and 10 for the Tri-Valley Scotties.
In Tri-Valley, there still is a lot of time left in this ballgame, but they've got to get something going now to get a score on the board, gain a little bit of confidence, and I don't think you're going to see them deviate from the passing game at all. Again, the quick out has been successful. The next couple of passes on the last drive, they went across the middle, not able to convert. I think you'll see that out again, or maybe something with Sabine long.
So Tri-Valley will try it 1st and 10 from their own 33. It's Dar back to pass, looking to the right side for Hirschberger. Makes the catch at the 36 and forced out of bounds.
And Chuck Blake on the defensive side that time made a good tackle to force Hirschberger out of bounds.
A 3-yard gain on the pass to Hirschberger, and it will be 2nd down, 7 yards to go. And from the 36.
Excuse me, Mark, good strategy that time by Tri-Valley. It was a good play call, good defense to keep it to a short gain, but Sabine cleared the area and opened it up for that out. But good defense by Blake, the linebacker, to get over there and make the stop.
Dar takes the snap, fakes the handoff, rolls back, and he is down as he loses it at about the 26-yard line. He dropped back to pass and slipped, and his knee went to the ground. And that was at the 26-yard line. So a loss of 10 on the play for Andy Dar.
And actually, yeah, the referee, Ken Keefe, did not make the original call. The side judge came over to make the call. And they will put the ball down at the 27-yard line, 26-yard line, 26.5-yard line. I'll keep guessing.
Whatever you want to call
name
it. Whatever you want to call it.
I'll call it whatever it is. That's where it is.
3rd and long for the Tri-Valley Scotties. 3rd and 16 on the 27-yard line. Just one running back in the backfield. That's Hirschberger. The handoff to him, and he fumbles. And it looks like the Crooksville Ceramics may have had it. We'll wait for the official call, but the referee is saying no. He's saying that Hirschberger fell on it once again. And it is going to remain Scotty's ball. So Nate Hirschberger takes the handoff and once again loses control. That's the 3rd time that he's bobbled the ball. Luckily, it fell right underneath him, and he was able to fall on top of it. Luckily for the Scotties, I should say.
He never really got a handle on it coming through there. And again, disaster averted as the Scotties able to jump back on it.
4th and 15, the Scotties forced to punt. Ball on their own 28-yard line. The snap and the kick.
It's a good one.
And it's going towards Brad Ross. He makes the catch at the 40-yard line and hit hard right there at the 40 after making the catch by Jason Latham.
Well, he didn't hesitate, did Latham. He came right down at it and made a good hit on the special team stop.
Well, Latham had that timed perfectly because Brad Ross, did not even have time to take two steps in front of him, and Latham just kind of laid the hit on him and brought him right down there at the 40-yard line, which is where he caught it. A 21-0 lead for the Crooksville Ceramics. 5:42 left to go in the 3rd quarter. Brad Ross on the night, 61 yards rushing so far. Looking to pass this time. Rolls out to the right. He's got a couple of guys deep. He goes for the short man, and the pass is dropped. Thrown behind the intended receiver, Kyle Shuley. And if I'm not mistaken, the Crooksville Ceramics have still yet to complete a pass.
Well, and not for lack of trying. They've had some chances really to make some big plays, just not able to cash in. And again, with the young squad, this timing is everything in the passing game and just not able to get it in sync yet. But there's a lot of potential because Ross has a good, strong arm. And once they get the timing down, I think that'll be a big part of their game.
2nd down, 10 from the 40. Handoff goes to Taylor. Taylor taken for a loss. Just behind the 40-yard line, not even a full yard loss.
C.J. Mercer able to get a good hand on the carrier and bring him down, and Taylor not able to do what he has been doing, and that is run it right up the gut for good yardage.
Well, we'll call it 3rd down and 11 after the loss of 1. Ball on their own 39-yard line now for the Crooksville Ceramics, leading 21-0. Ross back to pass, drops back into the pocket, looking over the middle for Shuley. Shuley almost makes the catch once again, but it went right through his hands. He was at the 35-yard line and had one man to beat. That was J.J. Sabine. But once again, the Ceramics passing attack, the receivers just are not hanging on to the ball.
Well, I'll tell you, Ross that time got a lot of pressure as he went back. People coming up into his face, made a good throw, and Shuley just not able to hang on to it. I'll tell you, you just can't throw it much better than that.
And each one of these are just going right through the hands of the Crooksville receivers. Crooksville forced to punt on 4th and 11. J.J. Sabine is the deep man for the Tri-Valley Scotties. The punt is on the way, and it's headed towards Sabine. He'll make the grab at about the 27-yard line. Takes it to his left, back to the 25, makes it up to the 30, and then he's thrown down and thrown out of bounds. And they was tackled by Cato Coleman.
Coleman, a tough one on that defensive side. Sabine wasn't going to get around him, and he made a nice a nice play to throw Sabine out of bounds.
4 minutes, 33 seconds left to go in the third quarter. The Ceramics leading this one 21-0, and there's a player down on the field, and it is Crooksville Ceramics player Kevin Caton. They appear to be working out, possibly we're just working out a cramp on his leg based on the way they're massaging his hamstring there, or his calf.
Caton, a junior, 5'10", 230 pounds, the right guard on the offensive side. And that offensive line has really been the heart of this Crooksville offense tonight, as they've been able to break some holes open that have allowed Blake and Taylor to gain a number of yards, almost 100 for each of them.
Each one of them enjoying very good days in the backfield. The entire Crooksville offense, other than their passing attack, seems to be clicking very well. I think they're going to need to work on some things with some of their receivers. The receivers are just dropping the ball. The balls are well-thrown balls. Quarterback Brad Ross has thrown some good passes for Crooksville, but just none of the receivers are making the catches.
Again, timing is everything on that side of the ball, and you just have to work at it in practice to time it down, and they'll get into it. I mean, the routes are good, the plays have been open, and Ross has delivered the ball. Just a matter of time before those click.
Kevin Caton coming off the field under his own power. And the Tri-Valley Scotties will take it 1st and 10 on their own 30-yard line.
Sabine has one-on-one coverage. You might see him go deep here pretty soon.
And there's the hard count again, and looks like it got the Crooksville Ceramics.
I'll tell you, Crooksville was coming with the blitz that time too, and able to take advantage of it on the hard count was Dar.
That's twice that the Scotties have drawn the Ceramics offside.
First and 5 on 35-yard line.
But I'll tell you, Dar escaped there because they were bringing everybody up the middle. He had one-on-one coverage. Let's see if they pick that up and then go to take advantage of it, as Sabine, very fast, can get down the field in a hurry.
1st and 5 from the 35. The Tri-Valley Scotties. The handoff, fake to Kilpatrick. Looking over the middle and making the catch is Adam Kendrick. And Kendrick out across the 50, down to the 48-yard line. A nice completion there from Dar to Kendrick.
Well, I tell you, Kendrick was hit right away by Sean Carr. He did a great job to hold on to that ball in the middle and get the first down.
On the 48-yard line. On the screen.
So it'll be 1st and 10 on the Ceramics 48-yard line. And it's that Scotties passing attack that's moving them down the field. The tale of two different offenses. The Scotties moving downfield with the pass. The Ceramics moving down the field with the run. The pass this time almost intercepted by Sean Carr of the Ceramics. The pass was led just a little bit too much. The intended receiver, J.J. Sabine.
10 for Sabine.
But Sabine hadn't gotten that far down the field yet. And Carr was able to almost come up with an interception.
That's a timing pattern, and early in the season, you don't know the spots as well. Later in the season, that'll be an automatic play, but that time Dar led Sabine just a little bit too much.
Dar back to pass once again, looking to his right, forced out of the pocket, and he's about to be brought down in the backfield, and he is. Thrown down for a loss by Jeremy Hayes.
So Jeremy Hayes stayed right with it that time. Dar able to elude one, but Hayes bear right down on him and brought him to the turf.
So it will be 3rd down and a long way to go for the Tri-Valley Scotties. 3rd and 22 from their own 40-yard line.
And that time Dar was looking on kind of a hitch and go, and he got the hitch okay, but the go part just didn't develop.
Andy Darr, back to pass once again, heavy pressure, and he tries to throw it away, and nobody anywhere near it, almost picked off by the Crooksville Ceramics. And it was almost, once again, Jeremy Hayes, who just made that last sack, and he almost got a free interception. There was no Tri-Valley receivers anywhere near that. He was just throwing that to get rid of it.
But that was a screen play set up to the left side, and it had worked before when Hirschberger got it out there. But that time, the running back got held up in the backfield, and there was nobody there, and Darr did a good job just to get rid of it.
Tri-Valley forced to punt, 4th and 22 from their own 40-yard line. Ross and Carr are deep for the Crooksville Ceramics. The kick on the way, and it's going to drift out of bounds. They're awful close to it. It hits at the 40. It's going to stay inbounds. Rolls down to the 30, inside the 30 to about the 27-yard line. And a very friendly roll there on that punt, as that would look like it was for sure drifting off to the out-of-bounds side on the right side.
Well, Kendrick, a nice break. The problem for the Scotties now is they need the ball to get a score, and you almost need to get a score here in the third quarter in order to keep yourselves in this one.
2 minutes, 35 seconds left to go in the third quarter. A 21-0 lead for the Crooksville Ceramics, and they have the ball 1st and 10 on their own 27-yard line.
We have a new fullback that's in the ball game, Bo Smith.
And Smith gets the carry right away, takes it almost up to the 30. And a gain of about 3.
And Chuck Blake had an equipment problem. Looked like he had a problem with his helmet here on the sidelines. He's working his way back over to Coach Craig Spring to try to get back in there.
Second down, 7 yards to go.
And he doesn't make it, just so you know. He's still standing beside the coach. So Bo Smith will stay in there for another play.
Just about to the 2-minute mark with the third quarter. And handoff once again goes up the middle to Bo Smith, and he gets nowhere this time.
Smith carry ball, tackle by McClellan.
So it'll be 3rd down and 7 yards once again. Loss of a couple inches. They move the ball back away from the 30-yard line, almost to the 29. We'll call it 3rd and 8.
And the thing that Crooksville's doing here, obviously, is taking some time off the clock. Not in a hurry to get the play run, taking as much time between plays as they can.
And the draw play, this time to Blake, who's back in the lineup, brings it up to about the 36-yard line, and it'll still be short of the first down. Short by about a yard.
Well, I'll tell you, every time he touches it, though, there's great potential. And Tri-Valley that time breathing a sigh of relief as they were able to stop him short of the first down marker.
4th down and about a yard left to go. Ball on the 36-yard line. And
Brad Ross,
like they are going to ask for a measurement here.
Brad Ross able to talk the officiating crew into measuring this one for him.
21-0 Crooksville in the lead in the third quarter. Just over a minute left to go. And they're bringing out the sticks to see if Crooksville got the first down.
I don't think that he has it, but Brad Ross was insistent on seeing how far it was.
And they've got just about a full yard. So the punting unit is coming on for the Crooksville Ceramics, 4th and 1 on their own 36. Just over a minute left to go in the third. Crooksville leading 21-0.
And again, with Sabine back there receiving the punt, anything can happen for Crooksville on their side, or for Tri-Valley on their side of it.
Kendrick and Ford, the two up men for the Scotties. The punt is on the way, and it lands at about the 30-yard line. Sabine takes it up to the 35, the 40, across the 40 to the 45, brought down at about the 47-yard line. So good field position for the Tri-Valley Scotties.
Well, I tell you, I like that too. When you have a ball player, take the one bounce. He had the decision whether to let it bounce again or take it and try to do something, and I don't think there was any hesitation in his mind. He went and got it and made good, positive gain. And that time he didn't, as we've seen him before, try to pick a spot. He just took it straight up field and has given the Scotties good field position to start this drive.
Under 30 seconds left to go in the third quarter, a 21-0 lead for Crooksville. Tri-Valley with the football on their own 47-yard line, 1st and 10. Dar with a little screen pass off to Kendrick. Kendrick makes the catch and runs right back to the middle of the field. Breaks a couple tackles across the 50 to the 45, down inside to the 41-yard line, and a first down for Tri-Valley. 6.6 seconds still left to go in the 3rd quarter.
Well, I tell you, that was just plain sheer good effort by Adam Kendrick. That play is the inside screen play, going over to the right and then wanting to cut back in is Kendrick. A lot of traffic in there, and he just bounces and bounces and gets the first down.
And that will be the last play of the 3rd quarter as time comes to an end in the 3rd quarter. The Crooksville Ceramics leading this one 21-0. Back with 4th quarter action after this. Back in Crooksville, where the Crooksville Ceramics leading this one by a score of 21-0, just about to start the 4th quarter. The Tri-Valley Scotties with the ball on the 42-yard line of the Ceramics, and they have it 1st and 10. Nate Hirschberger, the lone running back in the backfield, and Andy Dar drops back to pass. Hit hard by Mike Taylor. Mike Taylor with a big sack that time, and he comes up with something wrong with his leg, but he's apparently going to be able to walk it off.
Well, I think he just hit his knee in making the tackle, and kind of a crazy bone kind of effect there as he's going to walk it off now. He looks to be okay as he comes to the sidelines.
And he'll come off the field for a couple of plays, but a nice sack there by Taylor.
And that's what Crooksville has to do now, because they know that Tri-Valley's going to throw each time now. They've got to put a lot of pressure, make big plays to keep them out of the end zone.
2nd and 17, Dar looking to the left, and he finds Ford. Ford hit hard by Brad Ross down to the 42-yard line.
Ford made a nice cut to get back to the inside that time. Good athletic move, feeling the pressure on the outside and getting at least 3 more yards there as he moved back to the inside. The only problem with that move is it keeps the clock running, although I don't think he would have got out of bounds anyway, but a good move to pick up some extra yards.
3rd down and 11. Tri-Valley on the 42-yard line of the Crooksville Ceramics. Dar takes the snap, drops back to pass, looking to the left side, and pass is picked off, and it's picked off by Sean Carr. He's at the 40 to 45, up to the 50, and Carr could go all the way if he gets a couple of hits here. He takes it to the 30, down to the 20, the 15, the 10. He makes the move to 5, inside the 5 to the 3-yard line before he's brought down. What an incredible run back there by Sean Carr as he just took that one almost about 75 yards. Boy, he had a lot of opportunities to be caught.
And as Dar went back to throw that one that time, he had a lot of time, good protection, but just threw it a little too high. Carr picked it off, and off to the races he went.
And he cut back to the middle of the field, then cut back to the right side, faked one guy out. Somebody finally was able to get him, and they finally almost lost the tackle, but then it was finally Andy Dar who made the tackle, and a nice interception there for Sean Carr.
And Ian Kilpatrick and D.M. Ford chased him almost the entire way down the field. An exhausting run for both interceptor and quarterback who threw it. But a good tackle made by Dar to prevent the touchdown. But how disappointing is that for Tri-Valley as they're moving the ball. Plenty of protection, and just overthrowing his receiver was Dar.
And Ian Kilpatrick injured on the play a little bit, but he's able to help himself off the field. But it'll be 1st and goal for the Crooksville Ceramics from the 4-yard line.
And this is the position where the Ceramics have been really tough with that big offensive line. And they've got a couple of weapons in Blake and Taylor. I mean, either one of those running backs can take it in.
10 minutes, 19 seconds left to go in the ballgame. A 21-0 lead for Crooksville. And Ross takes the snap, gives to Blake. Blake makes it in for a touchdown. Touchdown number 3 on the night for Chuck Blake. And it's 27-0 Crooksville.
And Blake just put his head down, found the hole, and just kept the legs moving straight into the end zone. Give a lot of credit to the offensive line. Created that seam that he was able to get inside for the easy score.
Looking to the left side, got hit twice, and was able to run right into the end zone for a touchdown.
Boy, what a great block there by Tony Ansel in the left guard position as he sealed back and able to create that hole for Blake to get through. Good fundamental blocking up front for the Ceramics. No surprise on a Craig Spring coach team.
Kyle Shuley in for the extra point. The snap, the set, the kick. It is up, and it is good. And it is 28-0 in favor of the Crooksville Ceramics here in the fourth quarter with 10 minutes, 11 seconds left to go in the ball game. We'll stay right here. The Crooksville Ceramics, it's the running game once again. The interception, run back by Sean Carr, a key play there, and the running game gets it into the end zone once again.
Well, one of the difficulties now for TriValley is that Crooksville knows they're going to pass, and they're playing more of a center field on the defense. And that time, Carr was playing deep, and you're going to take the chance that somebody's going to catch it and you're going to be able to tackle them. But that time, the throw by Dar, he just got off his back foot a little bit and let it go high, and Carr was able to cash in. Just good defense. And then just great running to bring it back down the field. Mistakes again, as we talked about. Scores 28-0. TriValley really a little bit of the talent, I think, is a little closer than 28-0. But when you have to go to the position where you throw the ball, interceptions are going to happen.
Big night for Chuck Blake. 3 touchdowns, 108 yards rushing so far on the night. He's doing everything right for the Crooksville Ceramics from the offensive standpoint.
Well, when there's been a hole, he's found it, and when there hasn't been one, he's created it. And you got to give a lot of credit to him because he just doesn't quit. And that's what you want to see in a team. That's good leadership. And obviously for himself, he's been able to cash in with 3 touchdowns.
We also want to credit the offensive line, giving Blake the opportunity to bust through some of those holes and get some big gains and score 3 touchdowns.
Let's give those names again. Taylor, Ansel, Hall, Caton, Rice, and the tight end Kyle Shuley as well, helping out in that blocking scheme.
Another short kickoff, and this time it's taken by Hirschberger at the 35, and he's brought down right there. He tried to go a little bit sideways and got nowhere. So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Scotties from their own 35-yard line.
And we really wouldn't expect the Scotties to do anything different here. They're going to keep it in the air. They're going to have to. And just work a little harder at getting the ball into what will be really a zone kind of coverage now, as they're going to be 3 deep, as Cato Coleman will be playing center field. And they're just going to throw inside that and try to move it up quickly.
And offsides for the Crooksville Ceramics. Jumping early was Tony Ansel on the left end. He came across the line, and it'll be 1st and 5 with the TriValley Scotties. They'll take the ball at the 40-yard line now, and that'll make things a little bit easier.
And again, what TriValley has to do is not try to score on these plays. They've got to try to get in that seam in the defense, get some good gains, and just quickly move it down the field.
Jeff Smith now in at quarterback for the TriValley Scotties. Smith pitches to Jason Latham, and Latham brought down for a loss of about 3 yards. With Jeff Smith on in relief of quarterback Andy Darr. 9 minutes, 10 seconds left to go in the ball game.
Big crowd here tonight at Crooksville. Obviously enjoying a 28-0 lead.
2nd down, 8 yards to go for the TriValley Scotties. Smith with Latham and Hirschberger in the backfield, and he fumbled the snap, and Smith takes it himself and decides just to try to get anything out of it, and he does fall forward for about a yard or 2.
Well, Smith was the quarterback last year for TriValley, moved out to wide receiver this year, and now in giving Darr a little bit of a rest.
8 minutes, 30 seconds left to go in the ball game. A 28-0 lead for the Crooksville Ceramics. TriValley with the ball 3rd and 6 from their own 39-yard line. The handoff goes to Latham, and he's caught in the backfield for a big loss. The Crooksville defense has played very well tonight.
Boy, Tony Taylor that time for the Ceramics shot through there and got a fistful of jersey, and I guarantee you're not going to get away from him if he's got a hold on you.
TriValley has been held to just 14 yards rushing by that Crooksville defense. On the other side, look at the yards rushing for Crooksville, 271. Crooksville's rushing offense is just punishing the TriValley defense, and the TriValley rushing game is being punished by the Crooksville defense.
Well, I'll tell you, you just when you have two good running backs, a quick quarterback, and a big line, that's what's going to happen.
4th and 10. The Tri-Valley Scotties forced to punt, and they're going to call a timeout before they do that. 7 minutes, 40 seconds left to go in the ball game. A 28-0 lead for Crooksville. And Tri-Valley going to kick it away here, and one more score by Crooksville, and this one would be way out of reach, I think.
Well, I think it's difficult now. What Tri-Valley's going to do now is try to work on some things to take them into next week. Tri-Valley's got a lot of talent on this squad, and again, let's not forget, both of these teams are young teams. So each week they're going to get better and better, and I think Tri-Valley's got a lot to build on. Crooksville, those guys from last year who were in the playoffs, I think that's a tremendous help to a ball team. And they bring 13 lettermen back, and those 13 players really have a good experience, and that's shown tonight.
Ready to boot it away, and the punt is on the way. And Sean Carr is down there, but he's going to let it roll. Won't even get to him. Gets to the 25, inside the 25, and it's going to be down by the Scotties at about the 23-yard line. And that's where the Crooksville Ceramics will set up shop. And take it 1st and 10 from their own 23. Enjoying a 28-0 lead are the Ceramics.
And Tri-Valley next week, they will be at home for the first time this season as Morgan will come in to play them. And Crooksville will be on the road at Philo. And for the Scotties, it'll be a nice change to be at home next week.
That first home game, always an important one. The fake handoff to Blake, and keeping it himself is Ross. Ross takes it up to the 30-yard line before he's brought down by a couple of Tri-Valley defenders. Among those in on the tackle, Dustin Hood.
Well, that was that same counter quarterback keeper. That time it didn't develop quite as well as the first one, but still a good play. When you have a quick quarterback like Brad Ross, he's able to make things happen.
2nd down, 7 yards to go. Crooksville on their own 30-yard line. And the handoff goes to Blake up the middle, breaks a couple of tackles, and fights his way for about 5 more yards. And that's a 5-yard run that many other running backs would not have gotten any yards out of, because he was hit right at the line of scrimmage, broke the tackle, and was able to gain 5 yards out of it.
Well, really two qualities. One, you can develop, one you can. He's got a terrific sense of balance that you're given, you're born with. The other thing he does, though, he works very hard once he gets the ball. He's one of those runners that expects to score every time he touches, at least it looks that way, and he just keeps driving. Give a lot of credit to Chuck Blake on that one.
Brad Ross with a quarterback draw, got an option. Wide pitch goes to Taylor. Taylor's up to the 50, down to the 40-yard line for a big first down. And I'll tell you what, that really didn't look like an option from the start. It looked like that was just the fake hand up in the quarterback draw, and all of a sudden Taylor's off to the side, and Ross pitches out to him for a big gain.
Well, I'll tell you, that was a little variation on the theme there, as again you had the counter fake. Ross takes it up the middle, and over on the side, he just happened to be there. Mike Taylor able to pull it down, but that's a little wrinkle that, I'll tell you, that's tough to stop, because you've got 3 different things going on before Mike Taylor grabs that one.
1st and 10 from the Scotties' 40-yard line, and Blake takes it up the middle to the 35, the 30, cuts back and fakes him out, 20-yard line, 15, caught from behind, brought down at the 12-yard line, bringing him down from behind. I believe that was Ryan Holtz.
Well, I'll tell you, this is one that DM Ford is not going to want to look at on the films. He made the great play before to grab Taylor, did DM Ford, but that time Blake made a head fake, and DM was not in the play after the fake.
1st and 10 from the 11-yard line of the Scotties is where the Ceramics have the ball, and the Scotties are calling a timeout. A 28-0 lead for Crooksville, as we have 6 minutes, 11 seconds left to go in this football game. A big night for Chuck Blake. Well over 100 yards rushing, along with 3 touchdowns so far tonight.
Well, I'll tell you, the exciting thing on his last run was, here's a guy who's been running up the middle for the most part before he breaks free, so he's taken a lot of hits. As he took that one, he was in the backfield. He made a move there that would make a lot of tailbacks proud. As, again, DM Ford, the recipient, unfortunately for him, of that fake, that got an extra 5-6 yards on that play. That's it. Again, that's one of those things. That's instinctive running. You don't do that by just thinking about it. You've got to feel that. And Chuck Blake tonight has had good feel for this ball game. and really has made it look easy for himself.
Well, I think you said it best earlier on when you said that he's found every hole and he's also made holes when there haven't been any holes there. So he's just done just about everything.
Well,
Makes the cutback, and that was really what got him down inside to the 11-yard line.
Well, and he cut a couple of times that time. And the thing was, he just keeps his balance. I'm impressed with how good his balance is in anticipating a hit.
Bo Smith in to play fullback now, 1st and 10 from the 11-yard line. And everybody was moving early on the Ceramics line. Looks like everybody knew the snap that time, the count that time except for the center.
Well, I'll tell you,
a bit late.
What happens on that play, too, is when you have a counter action, the lineman, it's really like a dance step. Everybody's got to be in sync, so everybody's ready to move right on the count because you don't want to get in the way because you'll get singled out very easily on the films and in front of the home crowd. So everybody's moving on the snap. Now, if the center's a little bit behind, everybody's moving just before the snap.
So it'll be 1st down and 15 yards to go for the Crooksville Ceramics. Ball on the 16-yard line.
One thing they might improve on in practice this week, obviously, the penalty situation. They have 52 yards in penalties tonight.
Brad Ross with the give to Taylor. Taylor to the right side, inside the 15, down to the 10, inside the 10, to almost the 9-yard line. So it'll be 2nd down with about 8 yards to go.
Well, I'll tell you,
They need to get to the 1.
Excuse me, Mark, people who are scouting the Ceramics are going to have a hard time figuring out what to do because there is not one player to key on. When you have people like Taylor and Blake in the backfield, both of whom can break the big play, and Ross on that keeper, on that counter keeper, is very quick to develop. It's going to be tough to key on anything if you're playing defense against a Ceramic.
5 minutes, 25 seconds left to go. Ross with the keeper takes it down to the 6-yard line. Gain of about 3 that time, and it'll be 3rd down, 5 yards to go.
You mentioned, Mark, the one thing that Ceramics will have to develop is the passing game, although, again, from the quarterback standpoint, he has laid the ball in there tonight. So just a matter of timing it up, making the good grab. And if the penalty thing, which cost them a little bit in the first half and here in the second half, has really not been that much of a factor, but something you want to key on for the weeks ahead so it doesn't cost you. They get those things tightened up, and this team, I think, is going to be a lot better than people may have expected right out of the chute.
Handoff goes to Taylor, and he almost loses it, but he keeps control of it. He juggles it all the way into the end zone for a touchdown.
Well, I'll tell you, for him, he must have thought that play lasted about 10 minutes because that thing was in the air for what seemed a long time.
34-0 in favor of the Crooksville Ceramics now. 4 minutes, 40 seconds left to go. Taylor just took it to the left side, bobbled it almost all the way. He finally got a handle on it at about the 1-yard line before he took it into the end zone. And Kyle Shuley now in to try to kick the extra point. It's 34-0.
That's the advantage of the big line, too. Gave him time to try to get it back.
The snap was bobbled, and Ross rolling to his right, looking in the end zone for Taylor, trying to get the 2, but they will not. And it will remain 34-0 in favor of the Crooksville Ceramics with 4:40 left to go in the ball game.
DM Ford came in to bat that one down that time for the Scotties. Good hustle.
We'll take a short break here. Ceramics in the lead, 34-0. $34-0 in favor of the Crooksville Ceramics with 4 minutes, 40 seconds left to go. The kick is caught on his knees by Ryan Holtz at his own 30-yard line. And that is where the Tri-Valley Scotties will start things out here in the 4th quarter.
Well, Crooksville, after last week, really they did not start out well and came on to score a lot of points. In the ball game, they ultimately lost by the count of 31-22. But tonight, they really picked up from the very beginning. And but for a few things, obviously the passing game that they'll work on, they have played very well. And let's not discount how well their defense have played. They have done the job. They pointed to really the defensive backfield as being the strength of this team, but they put a lot of pressure on the quarterback tonight with the up front guys.
Well, you know, yards passing, Tri-Valley 120 yards through the air, but it really hasn't done them that much good. Crooksville has no yards passing. I don't believe they have completed a pass at all. And they have dropped an awful lot of them. They could have a lot of yards passing. Well, they've dropped a few of them. But Crooksville head coach Craig Spring, prior to the game, said that last week they were very disappointed with their defensive effort. And I think that's all changed this week.
Well, they've been opportunistic with the interceptions and being able to jump on the fumbles. That's what you need to do. And the thing that Crooksville usually does is they hit hard, and they've created those opportunities by really hitting the TriValley Scotties hard and creating fumbles and putting pressure on the quarterback to create interceptions. So I guess give some credit to some good fundamental play by the defense.
Pitch goes to the left side, and there's the defense for the Crooksville Ceramics once again. Caught in the backfield was Jason Latham, and he's brought down for a loss of about 2 yards to the 28-yard line.
And 34-0 is tough to say that this was a close one, because it certainly isn't. But on the TriValley side of it, they really have been hurt by the turnover, and the defense has been on the field quite a bit, and they've been pinned with their backs to the wall in difficult situations. I think you'll see this TriValley Scotty ball team get better and better as the year goes on, and that passing game will carry them in some games and keep them in it. So this is not the death knell by any means for TriValley's effort in this ball game or for the ball games to come. We mentioned they go back home next week, and that'll be a welcome relief for them.
Jeff Smith, a snap, and we've got a penalty on the play. 3 minutes, 44 seconds left to go, with Crooksville leading 34-0, and Crooksville encroachment is the call, and they will move it up 5 yards. So the Scotties will get a little bit of a break at the 34-yard line, 33-yard line. Second down, 7 yards to go.
Those squads getting some people into play now.
Smith with the pitch to Latham. Latham to the right side and brought down as he makes it up to the 35-yard line.
Good tackle that time by Nate Pettit, I believe.
And the Crooksville defense looking like the Crooksville defense from a year ago, which was so impressive throughout their entire season and throughout their playoff run, which was really probably the main reason that they made it all the way to the state semifinals.
Well, I know they were concerned about that, the line play on defense, and they really have nothing to be concerned about, at least this evening, because good solid hitting, good staying in your area to be able to stop the run.
Jeff Smith bobbles the snap once again and falls on it, and it will quickly go to 4th down for the TriValley Scotties.
Well, and you think about it, what Crooksville did early in this ballgame was take away the run. They absolutely stifled the run. 10 yards at halftime is what TriValley had on the ground. When you do that and you force a team to pass predictably, it's very easy to play defense in the secondary and be opportunistic and get the interceptions, which Crooksville's done really to seal this ballgame.
TriValley Scotties forced to punt once again, as they have done many times tonight. 4th and 4 from their own 36. The kick on the way, and Sean Carr and Brad Ross both calling for fair catches. Ross is the one who comes down with it at the 20-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 for the for the Crooksville Ceramics.
Well, that was about a 42-yard punt on a very tight spiral. Nicely done that time by TriValley. And we see a lot of players coming in, new players into the ballgame.
Chuck Blake, he is our player of the game tonight. 148 yards rushing so far with 3 touchdowns. So Chuck Blake is the WHIZ TV and ABC Sports player of the game for the TriValley and Crooksville game, and you will see more about that later in the week when we present him with his Player of the Week award.
Well, he's standing down there with Tony Taylor on the sidelines, one of the big linemen. You can tell he's that big, tough guy is Chuck Blake. He probably associates more with the lineman. He's that kind of player. And boy, I'll tell you, just in the way that he runs the ball and keeps his feet under him, he's going to score a lot of touchdowns. When they get close to the end zone, he's going to be the running back they rely on. Although, again, you know, as soon as you say that, when you have Mike Taylor, who's over 200 pounds as well, and also had a great night, let's not take that away from him, near that 100-yard mark, and I believe actually over the 100-yard mark, 139 yards. I'll get it exactly right. But when you have that combination of running backs, I'll tell you, this Crooksville team, some people thought this would be a rebuilding year, they're going to be tough. And maybe it shouldn't be a surprise to us, but the effort tonight by both sides of the ball for Crooksville has been impressive.
And Chuck Blake, only a junior, as is Mike Taylor. So their running backs will be back for another year. So
boy, nobody in the NPL wants to hear that.
That's a long time from now. That's just, I think a lot of people are still worried about this year. The handoff goes up the middle to Bo Smith, and he's breaking it across the 50 down to the 40. There's got one man to beat, and brought down from behind at the 20-yard line, and Bo Smith off to the races. And he's just a sophomore, and we were talking so much about Blake and Taylor, and Bo Smith breaks a big one.
Well, maybe you heard us up here. He was a little upset that he wasn't getting his due. Well, I'll tell you, and that's a fullback. I mean, he really runs from a fullback position, and in that play, he created an opportunity for himself right up the middle, good seam, and off to the races he went. Behind him and chasing was Ian Lauer, and Lauer able to get hold of him as it looked like Bo Smith ran out of steam as he got toward the end zone there.
Broke through one tackle, and other than that, until he was tackled, that was all that it was hit. The pitch goes to the right side to Nate Pettit, and he takes it around the right side down to about the 15, 14-yard line.
A flag on the play. And Bo Smith will get a rest here, so he'll head back to the sidelines.
1 minute, 29 seconds left to go in the ball game. Crooksville leading 34-0 and threatening to put some more points on the board. And these aren't even their regular starters that are in there right now.
Well, I'll tell you, a lot of quickness on this team as Bo Smith at a fullback position outran almost everybody. Had one guy to go, and Ian Lauer able to get down there and make the play pretty quick himself.
So the penalty moves the Ceramics back to the 28-yard line, and it'll be first down and 20 yards to go. And Brian Hartley in at quarterback with Luke Abel and Nate Pettit in the backfield. Hartley keeps it himself to the left side, inside the 25 down to the 20, and brought down there. Gain of about 7 or 8 yards on the play.
Again, that counter keeper. And it's an interesting play because the quarterback, after the fakes, really is facing right toward the defense, can read the defense. We saw Ross tonight go up the middle and then still have the option to pitch out. So that is a play that the Ceramics look to be kind of a central part of their offensive scheme this year.
35 seconds left to go in the ball game. The handoff goes to Abel up the middle, and he's stopped after a gain of about 2. Is down inside to the 18-yard line. 25 seconds left to go. And that may have been the final play of the ball game. We may get one more here out of the Crooksville Ceramics. It's 34-0 Crooksville. 10 seconds left to go on the clock. And that is going to do it. That was the final play. The Crooksville Ceramics get their first win of the season as they win this one by a final score of 34-0 behind 3 touchdowns from Chuck Blake and just an impressive offensive performance for the Crooksville Ceramics. We're going to take a break and be back to wrap it up after this. 34-0 in favor of the Crooksville Ceramics. Chuck Blake, 148 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. Mike Taylor, 139 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. Let's take a look and a listen to the Crooksville Ceramic Marching Band one more time. Crooksville Ceramics, once again the victors tonight. They win this one by a final score of 34-0. As they beat the Tri-Valley Scotties, the Ceramics get their first victory of the season. And Kevin, an impressive victory for the Crooksville Ceramics, especially with their running game.
Well, I tell you, when you have over 400 yards in a high school football game in rushing, you've just done a whale of a job, and it starts with the offensive line. We talked about these fellows are big. The lightest one up there is 221 pounds, and they average about 245 up front. They really opened the holes and were able to get Blake and Taylor able to get them into the flow of things and a lot of yards. So that's an impressive part of the game. We talked on the passing side, they're going to have to work on that, hold on to the ball because the patterns were good, the throws were good. Once they get that part down, I'll tell you, the scouts aren't going to know what to do to try to defend this team.
And Chuck Blake with 3 touchdowns tonight, 148 yards rushing, along with Mike Taylor, who had 139 yards rushing to go along with 2 touchdowns. Each of those 2 runners, both juniors, these guys are going to be good this year, and they're going to be good next year for the Crooksville Ceramics.
Well, that's a scary proposition, both of those fellows being juniors, and we saw some very good defense also for Crooksville. Again, they just hit so hard on that side of the ball that they create a lot of opportunities, whether it's putting pressure on the quarterback or whether it's tackling the running back and forcing the fumble, which we saw tonight.
Well, the Crooksville Ceramics now 1-1 on the season. Tri-Valley Scotties dropped to 0-2. The Ceramics, an impressive game for them. Very important for either team who would have won this to get the first win of the MVL season. The Ceramics are one of the front runners, and they've gotten off to a good start here in the MVL season.
Well, the predictors didn't know exactly what to do when they talked about this MVL season with regard to these 2 teams. Tri-Valley, they thought, might have been the better team coming into tonight, and they certainly have a lot of talent. What the intangible that made Crooksville so tough tonight, this is a team that's been to the playoffs and returned 13 people from that team, and that really held up. And you combine that with the big line and fast running backs and hard-hitting defense, and it really made the difference tonight. On the Tri-Valley side of it, again, they go home next week. That'll be very helpful for them because they need to get some things going for themselves talent-wise. They had some bad breaks early. Next week, if they can get those breaks themselves early, I think you'll see them being in pretty good shape.
Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the final statistics, some of the final numbers from this game. 424 yards rushing for the Crooksville Ceramics to just 14 for the Tri-Valley Scotties. Kevin, really, that was the key to this game. The Tri-Valley Scotties never got their rushing offense going because of the Crooksville defense.
Well, they really didn't. And the problem with when you have this kind of game developing early for Tri-Valley is that they just couldn't get the running game stopped. And on their side of it, it forced them, when their running game didn't work, to go to the pass often. And that's easy to defense when you know that that team is going to be putting the ball up every time they hike it back to the quarterback.
And the passing offense, no yardage for Crooksville, but 120 yards for Tri-Valley. The Crooksville Ceramics had their opportunities to put some yardage up there for some passing, but the receivers just did not come down with the ball. That's maybe the one weakness that we saw tonight out of the Crooksville Ceramics.
Well, in those films, boy, that'll be some tough review for some of the wide receivers. But the idea is the patterns were good, the throws were good, and it really will work as soon as they work that part into their game.
Okay, we're going to take one more short break, and we'll be back with some highlights from tonight's game. 34-0, Crooksville the winner. Back in Crooksville for the final time. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the highlights from tonight's football game. The Crooksville Ceramics started out early. The second play from scrimmage, Brad Ross with the option pitch to Mike Taylor. 41 yards later, a touchdown, Crooksville.
Boy, in that play, Ross looked like he was down for sure, but able to get rid of it to Taylor, who took it on into the end zone.
7-0 at that point in favor of the Crooksville Ceramics. The turnovers was what really hurt the Tri-Valley Scotties. The kickoff here, Nate Hirschberger with the fumble. Not a good night for Crooksville in that sense of the word.
Well, I'll tell you, in Tri-Valley, we mentioned, a young team, mistakes will cost you, and there it does.
Crooksville scored again in the first quarter. Chuck Blake, touchdown, 42 yards. That makes it 13-0 Crooksville.
When, as you showed there, as he got through the line, then showed good speed to get to the end zone, nobody could get him.
That's the way the score went into the half, with Crooksville leading 13-0. Then in the third quarter, Blake breaks a couple of tackles and busts his way into the end zone. Two-point conversion was good, 21-0.
We talked about the great balance, great drive. That time, third, fourth effort gets him into the end zone. Not to be denied.
Then in the fourth quarter, Blake once again his third touchdown of the night, 148 yards rushing, 28-0.
And by that time, he was old hat for Blake, as that time an easy play, big hole from the line.
And late in the game, Mike Taylor bobbles the ball and makes it into the end zone, 2 touchdowns for him, 34-0 at that point.
Good juggling play.
Chuck Blake, our player of the game, 148 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns as the Crooksville Ceramics get the 34-0 victory in what was a very impressive running game for the Crooksville Ceramics tonight.
Well, again, 424 yards on the ground. It's tough not to have a good night when you have that many yards. And again, so many different weapons. We even saw at the end, Bo Smith able to come in, the second-string fullback. He took a ball down the field. He's only a sophomore, so a lot of good things for Crooksville tonight on the ground.
And you can't say enough about the offensive line, the defensive line as well. The defense played very well in this game for Crooksville.
Well, Craig Spring was worried about the defensive up front line. He thought the secondary would carry them, but a lot of good pressure put on by that line on both the quarterback and then on the running back. Good pursuit, good penetration. Tri-Valley never got started on the ground tonight.
And, of course, what else do you need to say about the 2 big running backs, Mike Taylor and Chuck Blake?
Well, they do it all. And really, tonight, once they got past that initial wave of Tri-Valley tried to gamble a little bit, stop them early. Once they got through the line, both of them showed good speed, good balance, and that was really the difference in the running game.
3 touchdowns on the night for Chuck Blake to go along with his 148 yards rushing, and Mike Taylor 139 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns as the Crooksville Ceramics go on to a 34-0 victory. They get their first victory in the MVL season. They're 1-0 in the MVL, 1-1 overall. Tri-Valley now 0-2 overall, 0-1 in the MVL, and both of these teams looking to do some good things. Crooksville now has definitely put themselves back among the top teams in the Muskingum Valley League.
Well, I think people may have underrated them, and when people see the score tomorrow, they're going to start worrying again about Crooksville. They showed good balance, the things that you want to do. Now, they're going to go on the road next week. They'll be at Philo. They'll have to adjust a little bit in the passing attack to try to balance out the offense. For Tri-Valley, again, a welcome return home. They take on Morgan to try to get those things rolling, get their talent out front, and try to put some points on the board.
As far as the rest of the league goes, there's a bunch of other good teams out there. We mentioned Crooksville has put themselves up in that class along with the Sheridans, the Maysvilles. A lot of people were thinking about what was going to happen to Crooksville this year when they lost a lot of their seniors from a year ago, that team that went to the Division IV state semifinals. I think a lot of questions were answered tonight. The Crooksville Ceramics were very impressive.
Well, this is a good ball team on both offense and defense. Expect good things from them.
Well, that's going to do it for us. For Kevin Rao, I'm Mark Wolf, and for the rest of the crew in the AVC Sports, have a good night. And we had a great game.